Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello.
A little bit of a disclaimer. I've got workmen in the house today. Some things may get caught by our noise suppression. Some things may not. So if it sounds like a fart, be assured that it is actually a drill. But before we get too far into things today, we're doing a bit of Star Wars. We're doing another bit of the Star Wars mystery fighter. Let's do our good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And what do you have for me today?
This one is very much laser focused on today's theme, so if you're listening to this in a compilation, trust me, it makes sense.
Okay.
So you get to add an additional fighter to our Star Wars fighter who is a guest from another sci-fi franchise. Who do you pick?
Worf.
Worf from Star Trek.
Yes, Worf.
I almost said Stargate. People who are listening to the way I stammered my words probably were like, why do you say Trek so weird?
yeah, Star Trek. That said, if it had to be Stargate, then Teal'c. But yeah, the first one that my mind went to was Worf.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's basically the yardstick for how hard something is in Star Trek, and I think he'd fit in pretty well. He's basically a shaved Wookiee.
I mean, he's an iconic character, if nothing else. Even if you don't know what Star Trek is, if you saw Worf, you'd be like, that's a Worf.
Yeah. How about you? Who would be your pick for this?
I feel like saying the Xenomorph is cheating, so therefore I'm going for Ripley.
Sure, you could have the Predator.
The Predator's too boring, and that hurts to say, but you know, there's no real character behind the Predator. Some of them have got like little things, and they're interesting as antagonists, but having one as a protagonist, there's nothing. We've never, unless you read the comic books, we've never seen what they're like on their day to day. We only know what they're like on their hunt, and it's kind of a boring thing to explore.
Yeah, it's a bit like Jaws, isn't it? Like you don't care about the villain. All you care about is that they are always there. They are always a threat, and at any moment the threat could spring.
I guess. I don't know, man. I feel Jaws only worked.
Okay, Jaws was a bad example.
Jaws 2, 3, and 4 were all ridiculous. Wasn't Jaws 2 literally the sharks returned? But it can't have. We killed it. It's actually the son of Jaws.
Jaws Jr.
Anyway, yeah.
Something stupid like that, yeah.
I'd pick Ripley. She's a competent hero. I'd probably put her in the exosuit because it's one of the more iconic scenes.
Yeah, totally. When she's fighting the Queen.
Yeah. Not even a fighting machine. That's like basically the equivalent of a forklift.
Yeah. Ramming a forklift into a bear.
But yeah, I feel like we both had decent answers. That being said, it's a good thing we're both sci-fi nerds. Rick, how about you? Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, I think that I thought about this morning was, do you have a Star Wars food that you would like to try, if it were real?
Well, yeah, no shit. Sorry. Yeah, no, I get... Rick was trying to fill for time because there was a lengthy bit of silence where I'm just like, I can't think of any Star Wars food. The only thing I can think of is blue milk, and I don't really want to try that.
No, there's also green milk if you watch the sequels.
Well, no. I watched 2 of them and I wasn't a fan.
Yeah,
I don't know, is the answer.
That's fine.
I can't think of any food from Star Wars. It's not really part of the films, and that's what my main intake for Star Wars.
Yeah, true. I feel you.
So you must have an answer then. It was your question.
Yeah, it was one that I just thought of, and it was in episode 7, Rey gets this instant bread that's a ration. It's meant to be peasant food, but I would really like to see how peasants live, if you know what I mean. Like, how this instant bread actually tastes when you have to live on it all the time.
I can guarantee you
adds a little bit of water.
I can guarantee you it doesn't taste good.
Yeah, they make it look nice at least. But yeah, the idea is you put some like flour stuff into a tray, give it a bit of water, and then it just boils itself and burns itself to flames.
Sometimes I feel like this isn't a sci-fi franchise because most of the technology it's magic.
Yeah. Man, we even got that especially in Ahsoka with Night Sister magic, which is actually specifically Night Sister magic and not just the Force.
Don't get me started.
Oh well. Yeah, Night Sisters are weird. So yes, we're going to start with we're going to move into our Star Wars
Nice
extra
save.
fighter thing. Yeah, we're going to do another 6 and hopefully a couple of stages for us as well. So who's going to be your first pick of fighter?
So yeah, just a little bit of background for you, humble listeners. Rick and I have both effectively got 2 lists each due to us just making backups just in case.
Yep. We had 1 entire extra episode's worth last time, and now we've got an extra episode's worth this time.
Exactly, yeah. We're going to try and name 3 arenas each, but here's the thing. I didn't even think to make additional backups for the arenas.
Oh no, I'm winging the arenas because there are so many good ones that I'm pretty sure we can just pull something down.
Oh, definitely. But yes, you want my first fighter?
Yeah, if you can.
If I can. Ooh, a challenge. But yes, my first fighter, I wouldn't say is obscure, or at least it wasn't back in our day, Rick, but I imagine some people who are perhaps new to the franchise or have only watched the sequels won't recognise this name, and that is Bosk.
Yeah, good old Bosk. Rival to Boba Fett and our first window into Trandoshan culture.
Yeah, it's a really weird one where he got nothing in the film he first appeared in, which I believe was Empire.
Yeah, I think all that he did was he made his toes wiggle next to one of the Imperial officers' heads.
Yeah, he stood in the lineup of bounty hunters because that was it. We had a lineup of bounty hunters and that was it. The only reason I know this fucker was called Bosk is because if you bought any annual ever,
yeah,
they would mention him, and it's like, yeah, he's a bounty hunter and he's almost as good as Boba Fett, but clearly not as good because Boba Fett's the one we care about.
Yeah, Boba Fett's the one that has the idea of, let's what would I do if I were a scoundrel? Oh, well, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones just go around hunting around the universe.
Yeah, with the prequels, it's actually kind of implied. I don't know if this is a fan thing or if it's something they went into, but apparently Darth Vader just likes Boba Fett because
that could be it.
When Anakin served in the Clone Wars, he had clones, and who does Boba Fett sound like?
Yeah, well, also, he's the one that he singles out and going, no disintegrations.
Yeah. But yeah, Bosk's moveset would be pretty easy. He does a lot of gun stuff. I imagine he's got a very heavy rifle that's not quite a bowcaster, but it fires like one.
Yeah, like a charge rifle, and he's also built for physical stuff as well, so he could probably mix it up in a brawl.
Yeah, he could probably have some grapples. Those grapples would probably involve a lot of claw shit, a lot of biting. Like what we know from that race, which name escapes me, you said it already.
Trandoshan.
Yeah, they're fucking savages.
Yeah, they hunt Wookiees.
Yeah, we saw that in Bad Batch, in fact.
Yeah, and we saw the inverse of it in Book of Boba when Black Kassantan's just basically harassing a bunch of Trandos, wanting to add their skins to his little belt.
I didn't think it was Trandos, I thought it was something else. But anyway, it's been a minute, I'd have to rewatch. But yeah, I imagine his victory pose screen, because we did this last time where this is why I wanted to theme it more after Mortal Kombat, so we could be a bit more deadly, as it were, with the end screens. But I imagine it would be him essentially eviscerating whoever his opponent was, and then all you see is him throwing a limp body at Jabba the Hutt's feet, or, quote-unquote feet.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one, actually. I like that.
I thank you very much. What about you, Rick? Who gets your first mention?
Well, a little bit of a spoiler for another one that I'm doing later on, but you can't have one without the other. I'm going with Starkiller. He is currently not canon. He is the secret apprentice of Darth Vader that you get to play as in one of the Force Unleashed games, and then in the second one you play as his clone, because no matter what, he dies at the end.
I didn't actually know. I never beat Force Unleashed. I started it and then I encountered a bug on the second mission which didn't let me progress. Right. And I was like, this is bullshit, and I never touched it again because that's the age I was when I played that game.
Yeah, he's a lot more of a savage Force user. He's built to be an assassin. He has his lightsaber in reverse grip, and he's trained specifically to punch up and take down Jedi Masters. This is before he got removed from canon and they introduced the Inquisitors officially. So basically he fills that role in Legends.
Yeah. Again, I didn't beat Force Unleashed, but isn't there a morality system?
Yeah, there is. But it doesn't matter until the end.
Yeah, but doesn't your morality dictate what force powers you get, or am I making that up?
I can't remember that part. It definitely does in the Jedi Knight games and the Jedi Academy.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those, though, am I?
Yeah. Force Unleashed, I don't know if it does, because I think you're just always expected to have at least some lightning and at least some telekinesis.
Okay.
I think it affects some of the upgrades you can get. Not specifically Force, but like costumes and stuff, but oh well. It's been quite a while. His finisher is just basically just going to be standing over his target and just coming in, asking for the next mission, because he's quite emotionless in his regular state, and then getting picked up by his ship with Juno Eclipse, who's his pilot and love interest, who he then has to be told to kill.
Fair enough. Again, I didn't get that far. I was vaguely aware that there was I don't want to be evil no more because his dick got hard.
Yep. And then at the end, you get to choose good ending or bad ending. The good ending is you fight the Emperor. The bad ending is you fight Vader again. But yes, who's going to be your number 2?
My number 2 is one Sin Dralig.
This is one that I'm not familiar with too well.
Oh, okay, but you've heard of him, right?
I don't know. Is he a Clone Wars guy?
Sort of. Okay. Sin Dralig is another character who I know of because of an annual.
Okay.
Because my mum and dad were like, you like Star Wars, here is a book. And I read that book because I was excited. It came out after Revenge of the Sith. Sin Dralig is essentially he is the Master of Arms of the Jedi Order during the Clone Wars era. He teaches everyone when they're a youngling how to use lightsabers. He taught Obi-Wan a little bit. He taught Anakin a little bit. He was basically Yoda's apprentice at one point.
Yeah, okay.
But more importantly, the reason why he exists is he's played by Nick Gillard, which, Sin Dralig, Nick Gillard. That's how they come up with Jedi names, guys. I'm not kidding. It's just take your names and reverse them.
Yeah.
And he was the lead stunt coordinator on, I believe, Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. He might have done Phantom Menace, but I can't remember. And he basically got the cameo role as Sin Dralig because you've worked on all these movies as our stunt guy, or rather fight scene coordinator. I forget the exact role, so you deserve to be on screen. And the role was a serious role in the sense that he appeared again in Clone Wars the animation.
Yeah. I think it wasn't for Phantom Menace, because I think it was Nick Park in that one.
I think it was the guy who played Darth Maul for the first film.
Yeah, because he was like the kendo instructor for Obi-Wan and Anakin, and not Anakin, Qui-Gon.
Yeah, moved so fast obviously. He got told several times, you've got to go slower because our cameras can't keep up.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. He basically is the lightsaber master as far as younglings are concerned.
Yeah.
I thought he appeared in a video game already. I got him confused with the tutor character from, I forget which game, Knights of Sarkasai or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, the Terrace Kazi game, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not him. In fact, I think I'm not going to say that because I can't remember exactly. I was going to say something he did in Clone Wars, but I can't remember. But yeah, as you'd expect, he's got a green lightsaber because he teaches younglings. He just looks like
a teacher, not a warrior.
Yeah, he just looks like a cool old guy. You know what I mean? There's nothing cooler than that, right? I think his end pose windscreen would be he'd be doing the Jedi special of disarming someone, literally.
Yeah, and telling them they have much to learn or something.
He probably wouldn't say that. He'd be like, yep, you're done, and then fuck off. But yeah, that does it for my number 2. Who gets your next spot?
My number 2 is Rook. He is an assassin that Thrawn has. He's basically the main named Nogri assassin that's mostly always seen with Thrawn. In Legends, he was the one that kills Thrawn once he realizes that his entire race has been duped into a life debt that can never be repaid because the Empire keeps moving the goalposts. However, in the Clone Wars, I think it's in Rebels, he gets killed. So that's the divergence point.
So here's the question, Rick. How easy is it going to be for me to find a picture of this guy?
Well, he shows up in Rebels.
Okay, cool. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah, he shows up. He's got a voice. He has screen time. So yeah, that's going to be what he's going to show up as. He's an assassin. He's rather small as far as I'm aware. So just your standard D&D assassin kind of type rather than always guns all the time, because he's got like poison knives and things like that. And I think the way that you would have a finisher for him is you just see the body just artistically. The way that Thrawn describes his own death is it was so artistically done.
How do you describe your own death?
Well, because he got slashed across the chest in this really big X, and as it was just like slowly bleeding out, he was like, oh, it was so artistically done, and then he loses consciousness and dies.
Weird. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, but then again, it suits Thrawn's character to be like that, and I'm going to throw in my first arena here. It's going to be the Bridge of the Chimera. Okay. So you'd have things going on in the background. Thrawn's in the background, directing things, and it's less of a chase stage and more of a change of perspective stage. So you don't go very far from the bridge, as in you stay there, but you like might be looking backwards at Thrawn and like the back plate, or you might have to look out the side at some stuff that's happening outside when the camera shifts around 90 degrees to one side.
Okay, sure.
And maybe some stormtroopers might come and bother you.
So there's stage hazards.
Yeah, the stage hazards are stormtroopers.
I don't like the idea of stage hazards in fighting games, but it's your arena.
Sure. That's going to be me for Rook and the Chimera. How about you? Who's going to be your number 3?
It's going to be one Balon Skull.
Yes.
So I'll make no secrets of it. I was really surprised by how much I liked this character from moment one when they showed up in Ahsoka.
Yeah, he's morally very dark grey, but he has his convictions, and that's one of the things that I like about a well-written villain is that they have like their own virtues. You know what I mean?
To a degree.
Like he's raised his apprentice to his values.
It didn't fucking work.
No. But yeah.
The thing I like about Balon Skull is the fact that despite being very clearly more Sith than Jedi by a big margin, he's very rarely the first one to throw hands.
Yeah. He's got Jedi ethos baked into him to such a degree that even when he's actively looking down on it, he still follows it to a certain degree.
I think part of it is his dislike of Anakin.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
everybody knew Anakin.
Well, yeah, Anakin's the reason why the Order broke up to the layman. That's pretty much the crux of it. And Balon would have been not a youngling, but not far from it when he got, when that shit went down.
Yeah, he would have been like Padawan kind of age, because he's maybe a little bit older than Ahsoka, but not by much.
Yeah, it just looks weird because Ahsoka's race doesn't appear to go grey.
Yeah, and Rosario Dawson is fantastically attractive and in face paint.
Well, yeah, but that's irrelevant, because if you wanted to make someone look older with makeup, it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Not to say Rosario Dawson isn't attractive, I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to make her look older, you can make her look older. As far as I'm aware, the only way you can tell they're old is because their fucking head things get really long.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot longer than since she was little snips with 2 little nubs.
But yeah, Balon would be a very slow, purposeful character. I'd probably make him a counter puncher, for lack of a better word.
I mean, yeah, it fits his lore, definitely.
Yeah, like a lot of his moves would be focusing on time this right and you do extra damage, etc. This move is a dodge and a swipe rather than a... Yeah. That's one thing as well I noticed from a lot of Balon's fight scenes is he didn't dodge a lot. He used his lightsaber as a guard.
Yes. Maybe because the actor wasn't as agile as some of the other stunt actors.
Well, quite possibly, but I also like to think that the big fight he had was against Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's style is very hit and run. So how do you fight someone who's hit and run? Well, you control the pace.
Yes. Yeah, totally. I feel you.
So yeah, that would be probably my take on the character in a fighting game. As for the end win pose, etc. thing, I don't know. It'd probably just be we didn't see him kill anyone, I don't think, or not anyone important. He seems to be very businesslike when it comes to it, so I don't think it would be over the top. It'd probably just be a quick stab and that's it.
Yeah, like an actual just a coup de grace.
Yeah, exactly. As for an arena, I haven't really themed any of these arenas after characters. I've just picked 3 locations I thought would be cool. So my first one is going to be on Utapau.
Okay. Though that's where Kenobi gets betrayed, and also where they isn't it also where they beat Grievous as well?
Yes, it's him and Grievous's final. It's where Obi-Wan jumps down and it's like, Kenobi!
Hello there.
But yeah, it's the area they are is effectively a hangar bay, and it's also shaped like an arena. Go figure, because they knew there was going to be a fight scene in it for this scene. So there'd be quite a few things going on in the back. We'd probably set it during the Clone War era, so there's those big stupid fucking wheel ships that the
Yeah. You got the big ones that are actual like transports, and you got the little one that Grievous uses as a bike.
Yeah, I'd have loads of those in the background. I'd have a bunch of battle droids just sort of standing around nattering, because that's what they do. It's one of the few things I liked in the Clone Wars is the fact they gave the battle droids personalities.
Yeah, especially in the Clone Wars, definitely, because in the original all they had was Roger.
Yeah.
one thing I remember was like when I saw that wheel that Grievous got in, I went, oh man, look at that toy. You can buy a regular General Grievous for the price of a regular action figure. And yeah, you get more lightsabers than normal. But you can buy the deluxe version, which is the toy that shows up for 10 seconds and then he loses it.
I mean, if we're talking about toys, like there's no toyer toy than the Republic gunship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a very good toy. Yeah. That's a very good toy.
But yeah, lest we get distracted, Rick, it's your pick.
My pick, number 3, is going to be Boushh Leia.
Who the fuck is this? Oh, right, so Boushh is in the bounty hunter costume.
Yeah. So Princess Leia in the bounty hunter costume of Boushh. I think Leia is a difficult character to place in a fighting game straight up. So giving her basically double duty as standard bounty hunter number 1 is a pretty good way to do it. And she seems to have a standard command of guns and stuff. Like, she's very accurate. That's something that's shown that she has in her repertoire quite often.
I mean, in A New Hope, she's a better shot than Luke.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I mean, yeah. And she's got the thermal detonator, and that's something that she could use in combat. We've seen thermal detonators of varying sizes of effect, so probably one that doesn't blow up the entire room.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's a very inconsistent rule set. Like, you can say that about a lot of things in Star Wars, but the thermal detonators are the biggest offender on this one.
Yeah. And then I would set her finisher as she takes her helmet off, reveals that she's Leia, and in the background, the rest of the Rebel Alliance just form up on her, and the person holding the camera knows that they're fucked.
That doesn't make any sense, but it'd be a bit funny, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like a cinematic one, and like people just like take off masks and reveal to be, like background characters from the stages and things like that just reveal themselves to be good guys.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because the way you worded it, all I could think of was Mega Man's Final Smash.
I'm not opposed to that.
That's why I was thinking that sounds goofy and wouldn't make sense, but yeah. The one thing I would say is I think the design of that armor is very cool. However, if you include that, you've got to include a cheat code that lets you play as her in the golden bikini.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She pulled the thermal detonator. Where? I don't know.
Dude, it's a video game. You have to think that hard. It's fine.
Totally. Like, a lot of characters would just serve as just costumes. Like, I've got one coming up that would serve as a costume for another character.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah. Who's going to be your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be the first character on my list who I'm not overly familiar with. However, their cool design, I like the concept, and the little bit of lore I do know is fucking rad. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Cool. I'm probably going to butcher this. Tyr Vokker.
Tyr Vokker. Okay. You've found 2 that I've not been super familiar with.
Okay. This one, again, I wasn't actually familiar with. I had to look this guy up. He is a well-known Wookiee Jedi, but he's in Legends, which means he's not canon anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know there's Lowbacker, who's...
oh, fuck Lowbacker. I really hate that. Because his name's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Chewie's nephew or something, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Chewie's nephew, which is better than Chewie's son, whose name is Lumpy.
But that's more like a fucking Wookiee, though.
Yeah, so Chewie and Lumpy. His full name is Lumpawarump, and he shows up in the Christmas special.
Oh, right, yeah, cool, rad. Yeah, we should fucking do that for the channel, shouldn't we? We should do that for May.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, that's the thing. Do you do it for May or do you do it for Christmas? Yeah, we'll do it for May. Because we stopped doing Christmas because we stopped doing things at Christmas.
We did Christmas last year.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. We stopped doing things over Christmas, so it means a fully themed Christmas month is less impactful, you know?
I hate to break it to you, Rick, we never did things fully over Christmas. We always had a break on Christmas week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, when because some of them are not live, we just don't bother.
No, it's literally, we just don't release things on Christmas week. We don't pre-record.
Yep. But yeah, there's the other Wookiee Jedi I can think of is Gurgi, the one that's in Bad Batch.
Yeah, well, Clone Wars first, but yeah, Bad Batch is just Clone Wars. But yeah.
Clone Wars season 9, 10, and 11.
But yeah, he appeared in the Dark Horse comics. He was a member of the Jedi High Council before Episode 1.
Okay.
So yeah, he trained. He was Plo Koon's master. He's the one who trained him as a Padawan.
Ah, yes.
And he combines my 2 favourite elements of a lightsaber. He's got the curved hilt and he's got a yellow blade.
Yep, and he's fucking strong.
Oh yeah, like he is. Remind me once we finish this to send you a picture of this dude because his design is fucking on point.
Yeah.
It's something interesting they can do with Wookiees in that even though they're all fur, they can still have a beard.
Yeah. Like just because of how the face is set up. Yeah, because they've got a more human-like face that they can still do that. Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, I think his design's rad. How he'd play is I'd probably make him, well, he'd probably be super aggressive, especially with that curved tilt designed to combat lightsaber users. He could probably give I'd probably give him a special where he can intimidate his foe with a Wookiee war, because why would you not incorporate some Wookieess?
Yeah.
And I think this finally gives us 2 large Wookiee-shaped characters as well, because we had Black Carston from last Fighter.
Yeah, and we didn't pick Chewbacca. Yet.
yeah, is the word, isn't it? Because like we're trying to avoid the obvious picks, and Rick's sort of skirting it by going, it's this character, but this incarnation.
Yeah, like Leia as Boosh, I think is a very straight one, but the trainee Luke one was more a case of, oh yeah, fighting games do this all the time. I'm gonna do that.
Exactly, man. I'd probably have his finisher being, you know, when you defeat someone and you sort of like point the tip of your sword at their neck.
Yeah.
I'd probably have him do that as if like, right, you've now got 2 choices, haven't you? You can either surrender or you're gonna drop.
Yeah. It's like arm one, hand off of the other, as Grunt puts it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this was an interesting pick. The only downside is, again, I don't know much about him. I'm not surprised you also don't know much about him, because I had to do a fucking Google dive for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, who's your next pick?
My next one is a Clone Wars guy who I don't know much about, apart from the fact that I've seen him in material. It's Pong Krell.
Oh, fuck this motherfucker. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So he's the same race as the cafe owner that Obi-Wan goes to in Attack of the Clones, and he has 2 double sabers, and as far as I'm aware, he's an arsehole in the series because he betrays the Jedi Order.
He's the biggest douche. Like, he's a bigger dickhead than Count Dooku. Well, of course he is, because Count Dooku's in that weird place where he's evil, but his motivations are at least good. Pong Krell's just a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's just a dick, but he's interesting in the way that he fights in that no one else can dual wield double sabers.
It doesn't make any sense even that he can do this, but it looks cool, so fuck it, I guess.
Yeah. He's got because he's got 4 arms. That's twice the number of double sabers that a normal person can use. So yeah. So he's got a green one and a blue one just to show which one's which, so you don't lose track. It's the Grievous method.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we have a General Grievous-like fight in the Clone Wars when General Grievous has to live? Well, they bring in this guy.
Yeah, there's this interesting thing they do with Grievous in the Clone Wars too, because there's one throwaway line in Revenge of the Sith where Anakin and Grievous meet, and I think it's Anakin who says to Grievous, I thought you'd be taller. So for the entirety of the Clone Wars, they make absolute certain that Anakin and Grievous never meet. So whenever Grievous fights people, it's either Jedi like Obi-Wan, sometimes it's Ahsoka being separated from Anakin and Grievous fucks off before they get reunited.
I mean, it could also work the other way of he meets him every other episode and they trade barbs and it's always something really petty like that.
Nah.
But yeah. I don't really know what I'd do for a finisher with him because I've only seen him fight like really brutally.
Well, so do something really brutal.
Yeah, just be really brutal. Hold someone up with one of the 4 extremely strong arms and then just the life drains from their eyes as their legs go away.
Fucking hardcore, man.
Yeah. So who's going to be your number 5?
My number 5 is probably going to be my first obvious pick. It's going to be Darth Maul, but not any version of Darth Maul. It's going to be King of Mandalore Darth Maul.
Ah, yes, good one.
So yeah, this is pretty much at the end of Clone Wars proper, where he has the Darksaber, so is technically King of Mandalore.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's fully regained his body, for lack of a better word here, in that he's no longer handicapped from the fact that he got cut in half from Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So he's not using the Drider legs anymore. He's using like normal robot legs that work just as well as his own.
Yeah, and he's also of sound mind. Like, his entire plan for the Mandalore thing and getting people to go there is he didn't want Ahsoka there, he didn't want Obi-Wan there, he wanted Anakin there because he wanted to kill Anakin because he knew what was happening with him and Palps.
Yep.
And when he tells Ahsoka this, like, Anakin's fallen to the dark side and he needs to be stopped, that's what's causes their big fight, because Ahsoka's like, man, this guy's throwing down some good points, and then Darth Maul is just, oh, by the way, we need to deal with Anakin, and that's the point where Ahsoka's like, you're lying, and it's really weird fucking point where Maul is just disappointed more than anything, and you can hear a bit of sadness in the way he says that, like, this is the way things are. He actually seems reluctant to fight. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe he's the one who strikes the first blow in that fight because he can see it coming, but it doesn't seem like his heart's all that into it.
Yeah. Man, I gotta watch at least late Clone Wars.
Like, watch the final season, because that got renewed under once Disney bought it properly.
Yeah. I watched that season, which included, the good old pilot for the Bad Batch and the actual really cool finale of the clones in Ahsoka's battalion.
Yeah. A fucking real fucking change between Ahsoka and contrast between Ahsoka and Yoda, because like, oh, the clones have betrayed me. Yoda just full on murders everyone, and Ahsoka's like, no, these are my friends. Please don't hurt them. And Yoda just straight up decapitates two motherfuckers.
Yeah, he doesn't even wait for the first shot before he's mid murder jump.
It's so fucking funny. But yeah, there's not much to say about Darth Maul's fighting style here. Like, watch the last couple of episodes of the Clone Wars, because that's how he fights. He has the Darksaber, so I think this is our first Darksaber user in the fighting game.
Yeah. I feel it.
So yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know what I'd do for his finisher, because again, it's one of those where unless it's specifically Obi-Wan Kenobi, he doesn't really care, because it's like a given that he's gonna win.
Yeah, I feels it.
I will also give my second arena here.
Is it the Throne of Mandalore?
No, it's going to be Mustafar, because that needs to be fucking included.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's fine. That's all fine and good.
Yeah, there'd be so many stage transitions, but I don't think people would care because it'd be cinematic as fuck, especially if both fighters are lightsaber users.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, who's your next pick?
I'm going to open with my answer to that stage though, the Theed Palace where you fight Maul the first time.
That's a good one.
Because it was kind of very video gamey, and you could see like influences on how it would be translated into other media while you were watching it for the first time.
Yeah, so you
there
saying
are stage
that,
transitions,
like straight on, they've put that map is in almost every single prequel Star Wars video game ever, because it is a video game level. You're so right. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, because it was. If you hadn't said Maul today, I was going to say Maul in some other incarnation. So we'll skip him for now for today. But the stage has to go in. So I said you couldn't have one without the other with my first pick of Starkiller. I'm going to go with Proxy. He's a protocol droid that's been modified with holograms, and he's going to be the Mokujin of this game.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one. I've seen this character because I believe he's in the intro of Force Unleashed as to take the audience by surprise as Obi-Wan Kenobi jumping Starkiller.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yes. He's actually a very good lightsaber combatant, but only because he's programmed very well.
Because it's almost as if Darth Vader's good at that for some reason.
Yes. Yeah, Darth Vader's got very extensive memories on certain things that you can modify the archives with. Certain things are just taken from the archives when Anakin didn't know the character very well, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But others are very definitely, we've ramped up the difficulty of this one because this was a challenge for XYZ person. The final one that he actually gets to be is Darth Maul before he stops trying to kill Starkiller all the time.
Okay.
He goes, because normally quite often he'll like start a mission with, oh yeah, you're actually in trouble. Oh yeah, this is a good time to try and kill you because that's my programming. So you get an opening boss fight against Proxy, and then you get to do your mission.
See, I can now understand why they included that type of character, because it's now like, hey, there's a bunch of cool people in the prequels who are at this point dead, because that was before Clone Wars was out, and everyone wasn't dead. So it's like, here's an excuse for us to have a bunch of cool boss fights with characters you can't possibly have boss fights against. Yeah.
So Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul are ones that you wouldn't possibly be able to go against. But then he also impersonates the actual assassination targets, so he can do it in real time. And one time he's flicking through his data banks and he impersonates Starkiller and Juno. So like he can just scan someone and add them to his data banks, and that is what is going to be his not so much his finisher, but his end screen. He will scan you, add you to his data banks, and just walk away as the character that he's just beaten.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I believe that was an idea they used for Mortal Kombat for a shapeshifter once.
Yeah, so that's Proxy, and my second stage came at the beginning of this. Who's going to be your final one today?
Well, before that, Rick, I'm going to give you my final arena.
Okay.
Because I think it will be a funny stage. This will be the joke stage of the game, I think, and that is the trash compactor from the original Death Star.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
A stage on a timer.
Well, it wouldn't have a timer. I mean, the walls would close in, but they never get all the way, because then otherwise that fucks the game up. But, it'd just be fun stuff like that. You'd have the weird, super mega Jedi, force-sensitive future seer pop its eye up every so often and then disappear. That's a weird bit of lore that makes no sense, isn't it?
Yeah, the Dianoga. Yeah. Apparently she was at peace when the Death Star blew up.
Yeah, it's so why was it there?
I don't know why someone made it into some cosmic being either.
It's so weird. Anyway, I guess they needed a reason to explain why it didn't eat Luke and co, but it's just like, it could just be like, it doesn't like organic matter. It's in a trash compactor. It's probably eating the trash.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Just seeing that pop up every so often would be funny. The wall, the actual size of the arena changing due to the walls closing in would be quite a fun thing to play with. So that's all.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, my final character. My final character is going to be someone who is a mainline person, there's no denying it, and I think people will be happy to play as them. Are you ready?
Let's go.
It is one Cassian Andor.
Yeah! A good old rough and tumble rogue, but also actually dangerous.
Yeah, like for real. Like, I think my first reaction to the opening scene of Andor was, I was getting ready to shit on the scene, because he was getting basically bullied into paying a bullshit toll. Like, it's a thing we've seen all the time. And I was thinking, if he doesn't kill one of these motherfuckers, this is going to be so unrealistic. And then my mouth was agape, because 2 seconds later he did it, which is something you never see in Star Wars.
Yeah. And doesn't the other one start begging for his life before he ends him as well?
Yeah, I believe so. Like, he definitely ends up killing both of them, and I don't remember. But I remember thinking at the time, if he lets one go, it will be weird, because he can't let this slip.
Yeah, and that's like a quarter of the plot of that entire series, because that act is what gets Justice Boner on his tail.
I mean, about half the fucking plot, maybe more.
Because when he gets arrested, it's not for that either.
No, it's not for that, and it's also not for the fucking robbery.
Yeah, it's just for disturbing the peace in the Bahamas.
Yeah, but disturbing the peace after Palpatine, or it wasn't even Palpatine order, it was his fucking Council of Stooges going, we need to crush harder.
Yeah, we need more slave labor, so let's recruit.
No, yeah. It had nothing to do with the needing more slave labor. It was literally because there's lots of acts of people kicking up. We need to show them we won't tolerate this. The slave labor was just a benefit of said fact.
Yeah, just a bonus, yeah.
But yeah, Cassian's moveset would be pretty simple. Like, he's nimble, he can throw a punch, but more importantly, he is a fucking crack shot.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to get into it, depending on where in the timeline you put him, he could also have what's his face as his backup, the assassin droid.
Oh yeah. K-Tuso.
Yeah,
Alan Tudyk.
Honestly forgot what he was called, but yeah.
Yeah.
What
Alan
is it?
Tudyk, yeah.
You're being assisted. Do not resist.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you could probably do some, I think his grapples would be like combo attacks with his droid, because that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I likes it.
Once again, I think, I don't think there'd be anything flashy. I think you'd finish the move and you'd go straight into a cutscene, and that cutscene is him going to, I've forgotten the dude's name, but you know, the dude at the end of the Andor season, and just being like, okay, so what's my next job?
Oh yeah, not Mads Mikkelsen, Stellan Skarsgård, or whatever his character's name is.
Yeah, I've forgotten the character's name and it's bothering me.
Yeah, he's the one who's the mentor of he's in Thor.
Okay, cool. All right, Rick, so who's your final character?
I'm looking over my list and thinking, I think now's the time. Last time I ended on Emperor Palpatine, this time I'm ending on Darth Vader.
Okay.
And as soon as he puts on the mask, he does have character growth and evolution, but like it's not very much. As soon as he is Darth Vader, Vader, he remains Darth Vader. He doesn't change much between the end of Revenge of the Sith and about 10 minutes before the end of Return of the Jedi.
There is a bit of a change between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. It's just a change not a lot of people see because it's covered in 1, books, 2, comics, and that is while he's rather ruthless before being plunged into the lava on Mustafar. Well, he didn't even go in the lava, he just got set on fire, but there's a definite disconnect between him there and him as Vader in the suit because he gets far more ruthless.
Yeah, and apparently he started out very loyal to people who were loyal to him, and he just loses that over time as he just sees more and more of them die for no reason, and that's when he galvanizes his hate against the Emperor specifically.
Yeah, but motherfucker, he's the cause of half of them.
Yeah. Anakin might not... Vader and Anakin might not know the true extent of what Palpatine's done. He can infer a lot, but, maybe as someone who has served on the front lines under Palpatine as Chancellor and now under Palpatine as Emperor, he might put more stock in the higher-ups that he has, like generals, admirals, and things like that, thinking that people have actually made achievements rather than just all being chess pieces.
I mean, I'm just saying that Vader as Vader has killed his fair share of subordinates just because he was angry for 5 minutes.
Oh, later on, yeah. So I think it's probably going to have to be... Yeah, his finisher is definitely going to be the hallway scene from Rogue One, where he turns off his life support just to be scarier, and then just the lightsaber ignites, and you can imagine the rest. It's Vader. Because his Force choke is just going to be part of his normal moveset.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a grab. I will say, every time it's mentioned, we'll have to bring it up. Anakin has a pizzazz and a flair that never goes away, even when he's Darth Vader. You mentioned in the hallway scene where he turns off his life support just so he can be extra scary, because that is exactly something Anakin would do. But in the comics, he is on a planet with no atmosphere. He's in a ship. Half the ship gets blown up. He is in space. There is no wind. There is no air. And he uses the Force to make his cape billow.
Yeah.
Because it's the only explanation for his cape blowing. Oh, what a fucking asshole. We love him.
Yeah. And there's a fair few Vader-specific places that you could have. I kind of like the... I'm going to have a second trip to Mustafar, but post Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, specifically his castle.
Palace.
Then,
yeah, Vader's palace on Mustafar is going to be his stage. And this is the one that I got to see more than nothing. When you came up with Vader Immortal.
It's a really good VR experience, and I think that's what people should be trying to do with VR, is not make games, but make experiences. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but there was gameplay in there, it just wasn't a big part of it.
Yeah, totally. You could just generally win by flailing.
Yeah.
And you could just try again if you got eaten by the Rancor.
Which I totally got eaten by that Rancor, because he frightened the shit out of me, and I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, the times where you just think that something is a tree branch, and oh no, it's the Rancor's arm. He was just waiting for you.
I mean, they did a good job, because they put you in a cave system, and that Rancor looked like a cave.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's it from us today. So let's go with our usual wind down. Which of mine did you like the best?
I am going to say Pong Krell, because you can just do so much with that moveset, but I also think if you released a game with Pong Krell as a playable character, so many people would be angry.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see him also being because Proxy's just going to be on random. People are just going to rage so hard when Proxy just pivots from something like Kyle Katarn into Pong Krell between rounds.
Oh, that's not how Mokujin works.
Oh, does he not do it between rounds?
No, they pick before the fight and then he stays that character.
Oh, okay.
Or at least in the game I played. They might have changed that when he came back in Tekken 6 or something.
Yeah. Because the ones that we had in Soul Calibur changed between rounds, so that's what I was going with.
Oh, fair enough, man. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, what about you? Who do you think... who's your favourite selection out of my picks?
As much as I would have liked to give it to Bosk, just Maul as King of Mandalore is just so cool. So yeah, it's going to be Maul, King of Mandalore, wielder of the Darksaber, and restored and greater than his apprentice form.
Oh yeah. Like, as cool as the twin blade is, and we both love the twin blade, as did every child in 1999. But yeah, it was
yeah. He's he basically does remake another one. He's got that walking stick, hasn't he? That's got a lightsaber in the top, and then really, when he really needs to use it, he's got the lightsaber in the bottom of it as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. The only reason why he wields a single blade is, one, he doesn't want to give away the game halfway through the movie for Phantom Menace, and two, the Darksaber just doesn't have a second second blade.
Yeah. And he can dual wield easily enough. It's just that he chooses not to usually.
It's one of those really fun ones where Darth Maul is a perfect example of a character we can see multiple times, specifically in the Clone Wars, can adapt to any fighting style. That's what he's focused his energy in, is in the lightsaber combat rather than the Force.
Yeah. Like, in D&D terms, he's a fighter rather than a paladin or whatever.
Yeah. In fact, he very rarely uses the Force at all. I remember in Phantom Menace, he uses the Force twice to throw two boxes at... two random boxes at Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and then he just goes, that didn't work, so fuck it.
I remember in the Phantom Menace video game, if you played as Darth Maul, he had Force Push.
I didn't know you could play as Darth Maul.
Yeah. It was, it might have been a PC only cheat where you just went, I am Maul or whatever.
Okay.
And you just, I think you actually typed in, at last we will have revenge, which is like one of his only lines.
Yeah.
And you got to, because the rest of them was just like, I am Panaka, I am Obi.
Yeah, sure.
And the easiest way to beat Darth Maul was to play as Darth Maul, not to use his lightsaber, but to use his zero cooldown Force push to push him into the hole.
Well then.
Yep, it was fucking silly. I think that's about it for today. If you like the episode, you've got the comment section down below on YouTube. And if you're listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can instead send us an email, which would go to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
See us all next time.
Bye, guys.